This is an Eyewitness News special report. Gulf Showdown, the home front.
Good morning, I'm Dan Kain with continuing Channel 3 coverage of the Gulf Showdown, the home front. President Bush was seen early this morning going off to a briefing in Washington. Washington Bureau Chief Tina Galland has been monitoring events in the Capitol, and she joins us now. Tina?
Morning, Dan. You know, Pentagon Chief Cheney and General Colin Powell will be briefing us jointly in just about a half hour. They are expected to give us the latest information from the Gulf, including word of American casualties. We know so far that one U.S. F-15 plane was shot down in last night's massive airstrike. Beyond that, we're told the casualties are very low, that Baghdad's claim that it downed 14 Allied planes is a great exaggeration. Operation Desert Storm got underway in the dark of a new moon as more than 1 million troops massed in the Persian Gulf. Here at home, those who opposed the assault took to the streets.
We support the troops! We support the troops!
By the middle of last night, hours after Desert Storm got underway, protesters poured into the streets around the White House. There were many arrests, even scuffles between peace activists and the president's supporters. At the Pentagon, where Defense Secretary Cheney, in great understatement, described the first airstrikes only as successful, Joint Chiefs Chairman Powell told reporters the bombing raids over Baghdad were not aimed at hitting the Iraqi leader.
We have not been targeting Mr. Saddam Hussein. The purpose of our bombing facilities in the area of Baghdad is essentially to go after the command and control system of the Iraqi armed forces. And we're looking at principally military targets, command and control installations, air defense sites that could put our planes at risk, but they are militarily oriented targets.
Comments in mind, we add that Saddam Hussein is alive and well and giving bellicose speeches this morning. President Bush will brief congressional leaders on the Gulf in just about an hour. Then later on today, he plans to go to a church service with his house guest of the day, Reverend Billy Graham. The president is expected to make some comments to the nation at that ceremony. Dan?
I'm sorry, Tina, what time is that ceremony?
Well, we don't know what time the church ceremony is. We know that the president is going to brief congressional leaders at 9:30 this morning, and then sometime later this morning, I guess mid-morning, he is expected to go to that prayer service.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Tina. The center of activity here in southern New England through the night has been Westover Air Force Base in Chicopee, with protests and scheduled flights in and out of the Air Force Base canceled because of the fog. Channel 3's David Ushery has been at Westover throughout the night. We join him live now. David, what's the situation at this hour?
Well, Dan, already a few flights have left Westover Air Force Base. Their destination, of course, Operation Desert Storm. One of those flights taking off bearing about half of the members of the 94th Military Police Company out of New Hampshire. That unit was supposed to depart sometime in the middle of the night, but bad weather both here and in other parts of the country effectively delayed that departure. And again, about half of those 130 troops have left, and the remaining members will leave sometime during the day. The fog has lifted, the sun is rising, and of course that will mean business as usual at Westover. When we were allowed back in, about an hour ago, members of the 1st Armored Cavalry Division were lining up and getting set to take off. They had just arrived a few hours earlier from Fort Hood in Texas. They were getting ready to board one of those hulking C-5 cargo planes and leave for the Gulf. This will be one of several flights that will leave today.
Today at Westover, we're probably expecting between 12 and 16 C-5 movements through here. We could be with troops, may not be. We never know until they're practically on the ground. We may see some C-130s come in and maybe some more 141s, but it's going to be just another normal day for a while. I don't see any great increase.
Okay. And again, briefly, we've talked. All right, and then again, there'll be several flights. At least half a dozen of them will be originate in very different parts of the country, other military installations, as Westover continues to be the staging area for Operation Desert Storm. Back to you, Dan.
David, did you have a chance to talk to any of the troops waiting to ship out?
Well, that particular unit that you saw there was whisked away quickly when we got in. They were getting ready to board their flight and leave, but managed to mention a few words to a couple of them, and they're ready to go. Most of the troops we've talked to have made it up in their mind. They've got a job to do. They know a war is on, and they're ready to go and do what they have to do.
Okay, David. Thank you very much. Connecticut resident and former hostage held captive by Saddam Hussein, Uwe Yankee has been following closely the events developing in the Persian Gulf, and he says he is encouraged by what he has seen so far.
After the attack started, and apparently fairly successful with not too many casualties on our side, I started to have a very good feeling, and I hope that our people support the president in this effort.
Yankee was freed by Hussein when his wife traveled to Baghdad and asked the Iraqi leader for her husband's freedom. Let's check in with Jill now and get the word on today's weather. Ms. Brown?
Well, first of all, we'll check on the latest information we have from the Middle East weather, and nothing unusual here. A few clouds in the sky, and temperatures, of course, are much cooler at this time of year. 59 for a high in Riyadh today, Abu Dhabi 72. Overnight lows are for the most part in the 40s. Closer to home, we have very warm weather to start the day off with. 45 in Boston, 43 in Hartford, 43 the same in New Haven. And look at the satellite picture, shows you the thickest clouds have moved off to the northeast along with the heavy rain. For now, low clouds and still a bit of fog left in the area, and a few light rain showers around Boston and Worcester reporting light rain. This should be moving out during the morning hours, and by this afternoon, partly cloudy. Our highs today will come in the morning. As a matter of fact, we probably hit a mid-40s and should be cooling down later in the day. Tomorrow, we're looking for partly sunny skies, and we may have just a few of these snow flurries come in across southern New England. No accumulation, though, for tomorrow. We may see some snow again by Sunday. Dan?
Thank you, Jill. And thank you for joining us this morning. That's about it from here for now. Do stay tuned to Channel 3 and CBS for up-to-the-minute coverage of developments as they unfold. Good morning.